A happy beginning. Long ago, in a quiet valley surrounded by misty mountains and endless green farmland, there was a small village where people lived simple lives. The mornings were peaceful. Roosters crowed with the rising sun. Farmers walked into the fields with wooden tools on their shoulders. Smoke drifted gently from cooking fires. Among the villagers lived a small Hmong family. The father was a hard-working farmer named Tung. His hands were strong from years of farming, but his heart was warm and kind. His wife, Mai, was known for her gentle voice and beautiful traditional embroidery. Every evening she sat outside their small wooden house sewing colorful pine-top patterns while singing soft songs. Their greatest joy in life was their young son, a cheerful 7-year-old boy named Cow. Cow loved running through the fields, chasing butterflies, and helping his father with small farm tasks. Sometimes he carried tiny baskets of seeds, proudly pretending he was already a great farmer. Every night, the family sat together outside their home. They laughed. They told stories. They watched the sunset paint the sky with colors of gold and orange. Life was not rich, but it was full of love. And for Cow, that love was the whole world. But fate can change a life faster than the wind moving through tall grass. And one winter, everything changed. The winter of loss. That year, winter came early. Cold winds swept through the mountains. Snow began falling across the valley. Soon after the first snowfall, sickness began spreading through the village. People grew weak. Fever burned through their bodies. Families stayed inside their homes hoping the illness would pass. But it did not. Many villagers became sick, and among them were Cow's parents. At first, Cow did not understand. His father lay in bed, breathing heavily. His mother's warm singing voice had become quiet. Night after night, Cow sat beside them. He held their hands. He whispered softly, "Father! Mother, please get better." But the sickness was stronger than anyone imagined. One silent winter night, Cow lost both of his parents. The house that once echoed with laughter became painfully quiet. 2 beds covered in cloth, a small candle flickering beside them, and a young boy sitting alone. Outside the window, snow continued falling softly. Cow was only 7 years old, and suddenly, he had no family left. The cruel uncle. After his parents passed away, the village elders had to decide what would happen to the boy. They eventually sent him to live with his uncle, a man named Chai. Chai owned one of the largest farms near the village. At first, Cow hoped things would be better. He believed his uncle would care for him. But Chai was not a kind man. He was greedy and cold-hearted. He did not see Cow as family. He saw him as free labor. From the very first day, Cow was forced to work. Every morning before sunrise, his uncle woke him. "Get up!" Chai would shout. "There is work to do." Cow carried heavy water buckets. He fed pigs and chickens. He cut grass for animals. He worked in the muddy fields planting crops, while other children in the village laughed and played. Cow worked under the burning sun. If he worked too slowly, his uncle yelled. If he made a mistake, his uncle punished him. Years passed like this. Slowly, the small boy grew into a quiet teenager. His hands became rough. His shoulders became strong. But his heart carried loneliness. Still, Cow never lost his kindness. Even in hardship, he believed that one day life might change. The day everything changed. One warm summer afternoon, Cow was digging soil at the far edge of the farm. The work was exhausting. His clothes were torn. Sweat ran down his face. But he continued digging. Then suddenly, clang! His shovel struck something hard beneath the ground. Cow paused. He knelt down and brushed away the dirt. Slowly, the shape of an old wooden chest appeared beneath the soil. His heart began beating faster. Carefully, he dug around it. After several minutes, he pulled the chest out of the ground. The wood was dark and ancient. The metal lock was rusty. With trembling hands, Cal opened it. Inside, the chest was filled with gold coins. Jewels sparkled in the sunlight. For a moment, Cal could not breathe. He had never seen so much wealth in his life. But he quickly realized something important. If his uncle discovered the treasure, his uncle would take everything. So Cal made a decision. He closed the chest and carried it secretly into the nearby forest. There, beneath an old tree, he hid the treasure. For the first time in many years, hope returned to his heart. A strange meeting. Not long after discovering the treasure, something unexpected happened. One evening, Cal walked through the forest toward the river. The sky was glowing with sunset colors. Suddenly he heard a voice, soft and worried. "Hello? Is someone there?" Cal followed the sound. Soon he found a young woman standing beside a broken carriage wheel. Her clothes were elegant and beautifully embroidered, unlike anyone Cal had ever seen. She looked relieved when she saw him. "My carriage broke," she said. "My guards went to find help." Cal knelt down and examined the wheel. Using tools he carried for farm work, he repaired it. The girl watched him with curiosity. "You work very hard," she said. Cal smiled shyly. "I've worked on farms my whole life." They talked as the sun slowly disappeared behind the mountains. Something about her felt familiar, comfortable. Before leaving, she said softly, "My name is Nalia." "Cal," he replied. Neither of them realized. This meeting was the beginning of something powerful. Love in secret. Over the following weeks, Cal and Nalia met several more times in the forest. They talked about life, dreams, and the future. Nalia loved hearing Cal's stories. About growing up on the farm. About the beauty of the valley. Cal enjoyed listening to her laughter. But one evening, Nalia looked nervous. "There is something you should know," she said. She took a deep breath. "My father is the king." Cal stared in shock. "You are a princess?" She nodded. "Princess Nalia of the kingdom." Cal suddenly felt embarrassed about his poor clothes. But Nalia gently smiled. "You are kinder than any noble I know." And slowly, their friendship turned into love. The truth revealed. Eventually, the king discovered the truth. The princess had been secretly meeting someone. Royal guards followed her. Soon they discovered the young farm boy. The king was furious. "A princess cannot marry a poor farmer." But Nalia stood firm. "He is honest and brave. That matters more than wealth." Meanwhile, Cal returned to the hidden treasure. He realized something. If he used the treasure wisely, he could build a better life. Not only for himself, but for many others. The rise of Cal. Cal began using the treasure to buy land. He built farms. He hired workers and treated them fairly. People respected him. He worked harder than anyone else. Within a few years, Cal became one of the most successful young men in the region. Villagers trusted him. Farmers admired him. Even the king began hearing stories about the mysterious young man who rose from nothing. Eventually, the king decided to meet him. The king's decision. The king expected arrogance. But when he met Cal, he saw humility, respect, and genuine love for his daughter. "You built all this yourself?" the king asked. Cal nodded. "I only wanted to create a better life." The king studied him carefully. Then he looked at Nalia. Slowly, the king smiled. Perhaps this farm boy was worthy after all. A new life. The kingdom celebrated their wedding for 3 days. Music filled the palace. Villagers and nobles gathered to celebrate. The orphan boy who once worked like a slave on a farm had become a respected man. and the husband of a princess. As for his cruel uncle, he watched from the crowd in silence, realizing the boy he mistreated had become greater than he ever imagined. A kingdom of kindness. Years passed. Cal and Princess Nalia ruled with kindness. They built schools. They helped the poor. They made sure no orphan would ever feel alone again. Because Cal never forgot the pain of losing his parents. And every evening, as the sun set over the golden fields, Cal and Nalia walked together through the gardens, hand in hand. The orphan who found treasure, the princess who found true love. And together, they lived happily ever after.